Hi, I'm Alan Palmieri, the County Mayor of Jefferson County, Tennessee. I'm going to present to you tonight a State of the State address on the condition and status of Jefferson County. Perhaps one of the most important aspects of county operation is the budget process that we just came through. It was not a pretty sight. There were a lot of things that took place that I don't agree with, and some of those changes that were made due to the budget process are going to impact county residents in the future. Our budget, after it was completed, we had over $2 million being returned back to the general fund, which meant that we didn't have to dip into fund balances like was projected. And it also meant that we didn't have to have increases. But it also meant, perhaps more importantly, that we didn't have to have cuts to vital services of the county. For example, the environmental department that was cut. There was a tremendous cut made to the environmental department. Most residents won't feel the impact of those cuts. However, there will be a dramatic effect on new development into the county. There'll be long delays and times that people will call in for environmental services that won't be able to have service within the 24 hours that I have always tried to maintain. Other services have been cut, such as the building department. Other services were left alone. The only two departments that really had a direct impact were building and zoning. And this is a bad time to have those cuts because we're starting to see an increase in activity, which means the economy is getting better, which means that Jefferson County is going to receive more in tax revenue, which means that Jefferson County is going to expand and grow. And we need to be prepared to provide the services to those areas of growth. I'd also like to talk to you about the urban growth boundary that's being presented. There still remains, years after that was mandated by the state of Tennessee, a lot of confusion over what the Urban Growth Boundary Committee does and what they don't do. Years ago, there was a policy or a plan that was developed by the state of Tennessee called 1101, which required all counties in the state of Tennessee and the municipalities to get together and to determine, decide what areas of the municipalities were going to expand. It did not mean, and it does not mean today, that it's an automatic annexation. What it meant is that the municipalities and the county would get together and work together as a single unit to determine where potential growth was going to take place in the future. Areas that were outlined meant that annexation could take place. However, very little of the territory that was outlined many years ago has actually been brought into any of the municipalities. The problem that we've come into is that twice now County Commission has rejected what the Urban Growth Boundary Committee has asked for an increase in their boundaries. The reason that is a problem is perhaps 4 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, we had a very large multi-million-dollar development that was going to take place in White Pine. The developers, however, did not want to go forward with their plan unless they could be included in the city limits of White Pine. There's good reason for that. Most municipalities have a utility extension policy which prohibits them from extending water and sewer outside their corporate limits. White Pine, along with the other municipalities, agreed to provide them with the extended boundaries. County Commission rejected that. The proposed development went away, costing Jefferson County thousands and thousands of dollars of additional revenue and property taxes. Since then, this last Urban Growth Boundary Committee has once again proposed expansion of the boundaries, and County Commission rejected that. This committee has the authority to take it directly to the state, at which time the state will have a 3-panel judge to hear the case. Their first step will be to try to find a compromise, and they have already done that. Monday night there will be discussion about the urban growth boundary at the County Commission meeting to see if County Commission will accept this version of the expansion. If they do not, the Urban Growth Boundary Committee will take it back to Nashville And at that time, a panel of judges will determine whether or not they should expand their boundaries. That has a dramatic impact on our entire county, because the majority of sales tax that we collect do not come from the county alone. It comes from the different municipalities that we have. So it's important for us to work closely with municipalities to make sure that proper growth and expansion does take place. I'm deeply concerned about the future of Jefferson County and where we're headed. There still seems to be an enormous amount of politics being played. There are things that are taking place and going on that are harmful and hurtful to the residents of the county and the county as a whole. You don't have to look very far. You can look into Hamlin County, Knox County, Sevier County, and you will see new construction and growth taking place everywhere. Jefferson County can be part of that, but we have a fundamental problem in the way that politics is overshadowing the wellness and the betterment of our community. We've actually had some county commissioners that have made statements during county commission meetings that Jefferson County is a bedroom community. That's what the people want, and that's what we'll always be. And yet some of those same commissioners will go to economic development meetings and say we need to work together so that we can have economic development and more growth in this county. If you don't know who you are, how can we ever move forward? For us to take advantage of the upcoming growth that's going to be experienced by surrounding counties, we need to work together. Somewhere there has to be a line that's drawn that leaves politics behind, leaves the personalities of the good old boy system and power and control out of the equation. We have to sit down, we have to work together, and we have to move Jefferson County forward. We have so much to offer in this county, and we're losing it every single day simply by not working together. We're losing it if we're not playing the game the way it should be played. I feel bad about the people in the county. I feel bad for our children, for our grandchildren, and for our future. And every time I travel somewhere and I see the growth and the expansion and the new development that's taken place, and I look in our county and I say we've done a lot to damage and hurt it. We've cut services. We have actually invited no growth, instead of inviting and embracing the growth that we need to make our county better and stronger and to keep our taxes down. A couple examples is on the mineral tax that I recently proposed. I looked at different alternatives to raising property taxes, and I presented a mineral tax, and it was shot down under some of the most ridiculous statements that you've ever heard. I had one county commissioner say, if you're going to tax lime and gravel now, what's to prevent you from trying to propose a soybean tax in the future? Well, there's a tremendous difference. Soybean is a crop. It's something that you have to plant, you cultivate, you fertilize, you have to work. Lime and zinc, things that are minerals, precious minerals that are underground, belong to all of us. Those are God-given minerals. And not supporting a mineral tax is just protecting special interest. It's not looking out after the best interests of the residents of this county. Most of the surrounding counties and other counties across the state of Tennessee have a mineral tax. We were fully blessed with lime and zinc here in Jefferson County, and we could have taken advantage of that. Whether it would bring in $1,000 or $100,000, that's that much that we wouldn't have to raise property taxes in the future. There are things such as a mineral tax, such as a hotel-motel tax. The hotel-motel tax would benefit all the residents of Jefferson County, and it wouldn't impact us. What would be the problem with having an increase in hotel-motel tax? Because that will be paid by those people traveling through our county that spend the night here. It won't affect you, it won't affect me. But there was resistance and nobody took action on that. That proposal actually hurt us. That proposal, rejection of that proposal, possibly will allow County Commission to have to raise your taxes in the future. There are alternatives to continuing burdening the taxpayers of this county. And we need to look at those, and we need to decide what course of action we want to take. I'm not in favor of seeing tax increases, and I realize that cost of inflation and cost of products and services go up each and every year, and Jefferson County has done an outstanding job in the past of maintaining those. Some have said it's not a money problem that we have, it's a spending problem. Well, that's not accurate at all, and that's not true. And facts will back me up on that. Ever since I've been in office, we have come to budget committee meetings and county commissions with reduced budgets. Each of the years that I've been in office, we've had inflation raised. Not for employees, but actual budget expenses. But yet we've cut budgets each and every year. This year it was a terrible cut, as I alluded to earlier on the building department, environmental department. However, we have to continue to look at ways to provide services to the residents without raising their taxes. The amount of services we can provide can only be dealt with dollars and cents. For a community like Jefferson County, we have got to decide, do we want growth or do we not want growth? If we don't want growth, we're hurting ourselves and we're going to go backwards. We've got to decide the level of service that we want to provide to residents of our community. If we don't want to provide the services, we don't need the money, but you won't have the services. We've got to make a conscientious effort to get the most value out of every penny that the county brings in. And our departments have done that. They have worked well together, and they've done the best they can to provide the services to residents of Jefferson County. In closing, let me just say this. Regardless of how difficult times are, regardless of what the challenge is as far as trying to get different individuals to work together, I am deeply honored and appreciative for the fact that the residents and voters of Jefferson County have allowed me to serve as their representative in local government as mayor. I am pro-growth, I believe in moving forward, and I want to see Jefferson County become the very best that it can be. And I would like to thank the Jefferson County Post for affording me this opportunity to present this message to you.